be our new focal characters for Scream 7? Let's get into it. For the first 4 Scream movies, the stories mostly revolve around the original trio, Sidney, Gale, and Dewey. In the previous 2 outings, the focus went over to the core 4, made up of Sam, Tara, Chad, and Mindy, descendants of previous characters. Now with the focal 4 characters from the previous film either being fired or not returning due to scheduling conflicts, who will Scream 7 focus on next? Many have speculated that a return for Neve Campbell as Sidney Prescott is imminent, so assuming that's happening, in today's video, I want to talk about her supporting cast and who they may be. A popular fan theory online right now is to create a new core 4 made of surviving legacy characters. These characters include Sidney Prescott, Mark Kincaid, Gale Weathers, and Kirby Reed. There are some significant advantages to telling a story with these characters, as all of them have a previous engagement that is yet to be fulfilled. With Sidney Prescott being a wife and mother now, her whole character can be reinvented. The narrative is no longer about getting over her own trauma, but defending her children from the new Ghostface killer. This would be a new storyline to tell for Sidney Prescott that wouldn't feel like treading over old ground. Think something similar to Emily Blunt's character in A Quiet Place Part 2. It could easily be a similar arc, just replacing the sound-sensitive aliens with a creepy guy in a mask wielding a buck 150. Mark Kincaid has a lot of potential because he's a rather underdeveloped Scream character. His last appearance was back in 2000's Scream 3, and the only reason we know he's married to Sidney Prescott is due to a throwaway line in Scream 2022.
How are you?
I'm good, really good. How are you? How's Mark?
I think I'll keep him.
Just like Kirby Reed in Scream 6, we could completely reinvent the character here in 7. Maybe he's the sheriff of the town that Sidney and him live in, and gets taken off the case due to personal involvement. With Ghostface going after his family, the FBI may not want someone running the case who's emotionally involved. This could make for a juicy plotline with him doing some rogue investigating that leads them straight to the killer in the 3rd act. Kirby Reed could be the one to take over the case from the FBI and cause some serious tension between these 2 opposing authority figures. While of course Mark will be upset that he's not leading the case anymore, the tension coming from Kirby's side could be maybe a distrust in Mark Kincaid. Not only have these 2 characters never met before, but maybe Kirby distrusts him because the last time she trusted a fellow officer during a Ghostface encounter, it didn't exactly go so well for her. Trusting this guy ended up with a bullet in her belly. Ugh. Kirby would totally be suspicious of Mark, making him a red herring yet again. Finally, Gale Weathers is in desperate need of a redemption arc after promising to write a book about our beloved Dewey Riley. She instead opted to write about the ghost faces of Scream 2022, Richie and Amber. This of course fueled the rest of the Kirsch family to strike in Scream 6. It would be cool to see Gale show up to help Sidney, not getting involved for business this time around. Maybe she's watching over the kids while Sidney is away, or even sacrifices herself to save the rest of the characters on screen here. The important thing is that I would love to see Gale complete her character arc by not being such a bitch this time around. Maybe her reporting days are over and she's actually here to help this time, opposed to what her typical MO is.
If I'm right about this, I could save a man's life. Do you know what that could do for my book sales?
With a lot of Scream theories though, there are both pros and cons to this scenario. A pro is that we would be following main characters from the past, who have either been absent or pushed aside in the last 2 movies. Putting the focus back on Sidney and other favorites from the Wes Craven directed Scream films could make the longtime fans happy, if the story was written well of course. A con is that it could fall into the same problem that Scream 6 has by having too many focal characters to care about. The most likely outcome here is that none of these 4 characters would die, robbing us of an emotional death. At the end of the day, slasher fans want to see blood, not wholesome moments in their horror flicks. Many have complained about Dewey's death, but there's no denying that it was shocking and an engaging moment that left a lot of us emotional. I personally don't want to see any more safe Scream movies either. We're on entry number 7. We need something explosive to keep the fans engaged at this point, and I'm not talking about filling up a house with gas. My personal solution to this is just limiting the amount of past characters returning for the new entry. I think a movie with just Sidney and Mark as the leads, surrounded by an all-new cast, would be the best route for them to take. This could lead to more efficient storytelling with less characters, making the current people on screen more vivid. Take 2015's Ted 2 as a good example of this. Bear with me on this one, I know it's a weird comparison. The original Ted sequel story revolved around John and Ted smuggling weed across continental United States. This ended up being scrapped because another movie came out with a similar plot called We're the Millers. That's my personal favorite Jason Sudeikis comedy, and I'm pretty sure everyone watching this video in their 20s has seen it. No regrets, huh? Not even a single letter? Oddly inspired by the 1857 Dred Scott versus Sanford case, Ted 2 would go on to be about the titular bear fighting for civil rights. This plotline required a focal lawyer character to defend Ted throughout the movie. The filmmakers opted to hire Amanda Seyfried to replace Mila Kunis as John Bennett's love interest and to play the poignant role. While I was initially sad to see Mila go, Amanda shines in this sequel, arguably playing a better character due to the performance and writing. Samantha Jackson has so much going for her, if it's her hilarious lack of movie knowledge or the whimsical musical number she performs titled Mean Ol' Moon. On top of all that fanfare, she's also an intricate part of pushing the movie's plot forward by successfully convincing Morgan Freeman's character to take on Ted's case. The point here being is that it's better to create characters for a new story you're trying to tell, opposed to writing a story around fan favorite characters. Not only would that be an easier task for the writers, but I guarantee you that it would result in a less messy film overall. A tight script is arguably the most important thing for a good whodunit. Also, think about how many hoops that Scream 6 had to jump through in order to tell that story. Constant reminders of what happened in previous movies make some sequences in the later Scream films drag. I think we have to get away from some of these complications from the past in order to tell a good whodunit here in the present. That unfortunately means not seeing some of your favorite characters in this upcoming installment. In turn though, this leaves the door open to new fan favorite characters you haven't even met yet. Those are some exciting possibilities in my opinion, and I wouldn't want that robbed just to see a familiar face back on screen again. That's just my opinion though. What do you guys think about leaving some characters and ideas in the past to tell a fresh story now? Leave me something about it in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching this brand new Scream 7 theory. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more horror movie content in the future. Thank you for 22,000 subscribers. Oh my god. Please consider supporting me on Patreon as well by clicking that link in the description below. And as always, don't forget to kill it out there, y'all.